The sun was shining brightly over New York City. People walked through the streets, drinking coffee, going to work, talking on their phones. Children laughed in playgrounds, and old men sat on benches feeding birds. It was a day like any other. No one knew it would be the last normal day on Earth. At exactly 10:13 a.m., the sky changed. It started as a strange shadow. People looked up, confused. Clouds didn't move like that. Then came the sound, deep, loud, like thunder and metal grinding together. The sky cracked open and dark shapes appeared. Giant ships, black and silent, floated above the cities. They weren't from Earth. Everyone could feel it. People screamed. Cars stopped in the streets. The ships began to move slowly, spreading across the skies like death itself. Some people thought it was a show. Others ran. But there was no time to understand. Light shot from the ships, bright beams that burned everything they touched. Buildings exploded. Roads melted. In less than a minute, New York City was gone. And it wasn't just New York. London, Beijing, Delhi, Cape Town, Sydney, all were attacked at the same time. The world went silent. The invaders sent a message, but not in any human language. It came through every screen, every speaker, every radio. Then, like magic, it changed to English. A deep voice said, "This is mercy. Earth must not rise. Humanity must not reach the stars." People cried. They didn't understand. Why? Why were they being attacked? What had they done? No answer came. The ships continued their work, wiping out everything. No army could stop them. Jets were destroyed before they left the ground. Missiles were useless. Cities became ashes. But not all hope was lost. Deep underground, in a hidden lab under the ruins of New York, a small group of scientists and soldiers were still alive. They had been working on something secret, something called Project Phoenix. They had prepared for this day, though they never believed it would really come. The leader of the group, an older man named Commander Rourke, stood watching the destruction on a broken screen. His face was hard, but his eyes were full of pain. "They're not here to conquer," he said. "They're here to erase us." One of the young scientists, a woman named Aya, shook her head. "Why? We're not a threat. To them? We've barely left our planet." Rourke looked at her. "That's exactly why. They fear what we will become, not what we are." Outside, the world burned. But deep underground, Project Phoenix began to wake up. Machines powered on. Screens lit up. Old codes were entered. Files hidden for years were opened. This was not just a shelter. It was a plan, a seed of revenge. Aya walked through the halls of the bunker, past giant doors and silent robots. She stopped in front of a strange metal pod. On it were the words, "Fire is born in darkness." "Is it ready?" she asked. Rourke nodded slowly. "Not yet, but soon." Above them, the sky was filled with ships. The invaders believed they had won. They believed Earth was broken, but they were wrong. Humanity was not finished. It was only sleeping, waiting. In other places around the world, small groups of survivors hid in mountains and caves in the ruins of cities. They had no plan, no hope, not yet. But something had begun. A whisper, a signal, something moving in the dark. The alien voice returned. This time it spoke clearly and coldly. "Earth has been neutralized. The threat is over." Aya stared at the ceiling, her fists clenched. "They think we're finished," she said. Commander Rourke smiled just a little. "Let them believe that." Far above the Earth, one of the smaller alien ships picked up a strange signal. It was weak, hidden, but alive. It came from deep under New York. The ship moved to investigate, but then something hit it, a blast of energy from below. The ship shook, lost control, and crashed into the ocean. In the dark command center, Rourke turned to Aya. "That was just a warning." She nodded. "Then let's show them the fire they tried to bury." The lights in the bunker turned red. Project Phoenix was alive, and Earth was not done yet. The world was quiet now. After the attack, everything changed. The cities were dark, streets were filled with dust and silence. The alien ships floated above, like watchers. They didn't speak again. They believed their job was done. Earth was broken. Humanity was dead. But they were wrong. Underground, in hidden places, small groups of humans were still alive. Some hid in old train tunnels. Others found shelter in mountain caves. A few were lucky to be in bunkers, places built by people who had always feared something like this would happen. One of those places was the Project Phoenix bunker under the ruins of New York. Commander Rourke stood in front of a large screen. The images were blurry, old satellites showing pieces of the planet, smoke, fire, silence. But here, deep below the ground, machines were working again. Lights were on. People were moving with purpose. Aya sat at a table, typing fast. She was young but smart. She used to be a university student. Now she was helping lead the last hope of humanity. "I've got it," she said. "A signal. Alien data. I cracked their message system." Rourke turned. "What did you find?" Aya looked up. "They're watching us, still. But they aren't sending new attacks. They think we're finished." Rourke nodded. "That's their mistake." In another room, a group of engineers worked on machines. Old human technology, upgraded with alien pieces. Project Phoenix had hidden these weapons for years. They were too dangerous to use before. But now, they were needed. One of the engineers, a quiet man named Ellis, showed Aya a device. It looked like a large gun, but its center glowed blue. "This," he said, "can shut down their energy shields." Aya touched it carefully. "Have you tested it?" "Not yet," Ellis said, "but we will. Soon." That night, the bunker was quiet. People ate silently. They missed their families, their homes, their old lives. But they had something else now. Anger and purpose. Above them, the alien ships scanned the ground. They picked up heat, movement, signals, but they ignored most of it. Humans were not a threat anymore. Deep in space, the alien council watched Earth from their command center. They spoke in a strange, cold language. One said, "The species is weak. They cry. They fall. They fight among themselves. They are not like us." Another replied, "That is why they are dangerous. They do not follow rules. They create new ones." The first voice said, "Then we have done the right thing. Their rise is over." Back on Earth, Aya found a strange file in the alien system. It was a report. She read it carefully. Her eyes widened. "Commander," she said, "you need to see this." Rourke came quickly. "What is it?" She pointed at the screen. "They've been watching us for years, decades. They saw our wars, our growth, our technology. They called it uncontrolled evolution." Rourke read the report. It said, "Humans learn fast. They copy, they steal, they improve. If allowed, they will not just join the galaxy, they will lead it, and they will not obey." He closed his eyes. "That's why they hit us first," Aya whispered. "They feared us." That night, the humans in the bunker voted to fight back. Their first target was a small alien outpost in the ruins of Philadelphia. It was lightly guarded. They decided to strike. It wasn't an army, just 10 people moving in the dark, carrying stolen weapons and homemade bombs. Aya led them. She wasn't a soldier, but she had nothing to lose. They reached the outpost just before dawn. The air was cold. The alien guards didn't expect anything. The humans attacked fast. The energy gun worked. It broke the alien shields. A short battle followed. And then, silence. The outpost was theirs. It was a small victory, but it changed everything. They found alien computers, maps, weapons, and more important, hope. Proof that the invaders could be hurt, beaten. When they returned to the bunker, people cheered, smiled. For the first time in days, they laughed. Rourke spoke to them. "We are not done. We are not dust. We are the fire they tried to kill. And now, we rise." Far above, the Alien Council received a report. Human survivors have attacked. One outpost lost. The council leader growled. They were supposed to be broken. Another replied, "Then we must remind them why we came." But deep underground, Aya looked at the alien map. She saw something marked far to the south. Antarctica. A large signal. A forgotten lab. She turned to Rourke. "There's something else. Something hidden. We need to find it." And in the cold silence of the bunker, the future of Earth began to shift again. The humans were not broken. They were just getting started. Snow covered the land like a thick white blanket. The wind screamed across the ice, and the cold could kill a person in minutes. This was Antarctica, a place untouched by most of the world, even before the sky fell. Now it was completely silent. But something was waking up beneath the ice. Aya stood in a thick coat, goggles on her face, breathing hard. Behind her, a small team of soldiers and scientists waited. They had followed the signal she found in the alien map. It led here, to a place no one had talked about in years, not even in Project Phoenix files. "This is it," she said. "The source is right below us." They started digging, using machines they carried on small tracked vehicles. It took hours. The ice was deep. But finally, metal appeared under the snow. A door. Old, strong, human-made. And on it, a single word. Fireborn. Rourke's voice came through the radio from the main bunker. "Are you sure about this, Aya? That program was never finished. It was shut down for a reason." Aya replied, "They feared what it could do. Just like the aliens fear us. That's why we have to open it." The door opened with a loud hiss. Inside was darkness. Cold air poured out. They stepped in carefully, lights flashing across long, frozen halls. Everything looked untouched. No, one had been here for years, but the power was still on. They reached a large room. In the center were several tall pods, like glass tubes filled with strange, glowing liquid. Inside each pod floated a human figure. Their eyes were closed, their bodies strong, their veins glowing faintly red. Aya stared. "Are they alive?" Scientists stepped forward. "Yes, their life signs are stable. These are the Fireborn." Fireborn were a secret human project started long ago. Scientists tried to create soldiers who could survive anything: cold, heat, radiation, pain. They mixed science with dangerous technology, even alien DNA from early encounters. But the project was canceled. Too risky, too powerful, and yet here they were. One of the pods made a sound. The figure inside moved. Eyes opened, bright, burning gold. A man stepped out. He looked at Aya, calm but intense. "Name?" she asked. He answered with a deep voice. "Subject 07. You may call me Ash." Aya gave him a warm pack and some clothes. He put them on without speaking. Then he looked at the others still, in the pods. "You woke me," he said. "Why?" Aya told him everything. The alien attack, the death, the survivors, the fight back. Ash nodded. "Then it's time." More pods began to open. The Fireborn stepped out, one by one, men and women, all with the same glowing veins and sharp eyes. They didn't speak much. They didn't need to. They remembered why they were made. Later that night, Aya and Ash stood outside the lab, staring at the frozen stars. The wind blew hard, but neither of them felt it. "You were built to fight," she said. "No," Ash replied. "We were built to win." They returned to the Project Phoenix bunker. When the door opened, everyone stopped and stared. The Fireborn walked in quietly, but their presence filled the room with power. People moved aside. Some looked scared. Others looked hopeful. Rourke stepped forward. "Welcome home." Ash looked at him. "You built us to be weapons. Now we will be your shield." In the days that followed, the Fireborn trained the survivors. They showed them how to fight smarter, faster, how to use alien weapons, how to hide from scanners, how to strike hard and vanish. They became leaders and symbols across the planet. The whisper of hope spread. In hidden shelters, people heard stories. Humans are fighting back. Super soldiers walk the earth. The aliens are not unbeatable. The Alien Council received the news. One of the members slammed its fist on the table. "They found the Fireborn." "The program lives," another replied. "Destroy them, now." They sent a strike team, fast, deadly, made of elite hunters. Their job? Kill the Fireborn. End the spark. But they were too late. When the alien team landed near the Project Phoenix base, they were met with fire. Not from bombs, but from the Fireborn themselves. Ash led the charge. His body glowed like hot metal. He moved faster than the aliens could see. The others followed, silent and deadly. The battle lasted 5 minutes, and the humans won. Aya stood beside Ash afterward. The snow was black with ash and broken machines. She looked at him. "They're going to come harder now," she said. Ash smiled for the first time. Let them. Somewhere in deep space, a new message was sent from Earth. It was not a cry for help. It was a warning. The sun rose slowly over the ruined Earth. Cities were still broken. Skies were still filled with silent enemy ships. But deep underground, something powerful was growing. The Fireborn were awake. In the Project Phoenix bunker, people watched them with wide eyes. These warriors were more than human, stronger, faster, smarter. They moved like shadows, spoke with purpose, and trained like machines. But they weren't machines. They had hearts. They remembered pain. They remembered Earth before the fall. Ash, the first Fireborn, trained the survivors. He showed them how to fight like soldiers, even if they were once farmers, teachers, or shopkeepers. The Fireborn didn't just teach war. They taught hope. One day, Aya stood with Ash outside the bunker, looking at the stars. "They think they broke us," she said. "They woke us," Ash replied. Far above, the alien ships moved slowly across the planet. They scanned for heat, sound, movement. One ship noticed something strange: power spikes under the old ruins of Tokyo. The aliens sent a team to check. They found nothing but ashes. As they turned to leave, a blast hit them from behind. The ship exploded. It was the Fireborn. They had attacked quickly and vanished. The aliens didn't even see their faces. This was just the beginning. Over the next few weeks, Fireborn teams moved across the world. They hit supply drops, destroyed scanners, hacked alien tech. In Brazil, they freed human prisoners. In India, they wiped out a small alien base. In Egypt, they found an ancient underground vault with lost Earth technology. People started to believe again. Hope became a weapon. Aya helped create a new network, a human signal that spread across radios and broken satellites. She called it the Flame. Survivors everywhere heard the message: "You are not alone. Earth still stands. Fire still burns." More humans began to fight back. They used anything they had: sticks, tools, old guns. They followed the Fireborn's example. And slowly the invaders noticed. In space, the Alien Council held an emergency meeting. "They were supposed to die quietly," one said. "They adapt too fast," another growled. "They are becoming what we feared." The leader of the council slammed a fist on the table. "Then we burn the Earth fully. No survivors." They sent a massive new ship, larger than any before. It carried weapons that could crack the planet's crust. The ship was called the Purifier. The Fireborn knew it was coming. Aya and Rourke stood in the command room, looking at the screen. "If that ship fires," Rourke said, "it's over. There won't be an Earth left to save." Ash nodded. Then, We stop it before it gets close. They created a plan, dangerous, maybe impossible. They would hijack one of the alien ships and fly it into space to meet the Purifier before it reached Earth. Aya looked at Ash. You know this is a suicide mission. He didn't blink. I was made to protect Earth, not survive it. But she didn't let him go alone. They chose a small team, 3 Fireborn and 2 humans. One of them was Aya. The ship they captured was small but fast. It still worked, barely. They took off at night, silent, quick, into the sky, leaving behind the broken Earth and flying straight toward the alien giant. As they neared the Purifier, alarms rang on the enemy ship. Fighters launched, lasers fired. The Fireborn ship shook. Inside, Ash stood at the controls. Brace yourselves! The ship spun, dodged, fired back. One of the Fireborn was hit, burned, but they didn't stop. They reached the Purifier, docked, broke in. What followed was fire and fury. The Fireborn fought like demons. They tore through metal and machines. Aya hacked into the core systems, while Ash held the hallway alone. His body glowed with heat. Enemies fell around him, but he stood strong. Aya found the main reactor. She looked at Ash. If I overload this, the whole ship will go. Ash nodded. Do it. But we won't make it out. Ash looked her in the eyes. Then we die for something. She didn't speak. She just pressed the button. The ship began to shake. They ran. Flames followed them. Aya slipped, but Ash grabbed her. They reached the stolen ship just in time. It blasted away as the Purifier exploded behind them. From Earth, people looked up and saw a second sun in the sky. Cheers filled the bunkers, the ruins, the shelters. The flame signal sent a new message. The giants fall. Earth rises. We are Fireborn. Back in the bunker, Aya and Ash returned, tired and burned, but alive. Rourke met them with a smile. You did it. Ash looked at Aya, then said, No. We did it. For the first time, the aliens were afraid, because humans didn't just survive, they evolved. The explosion of the Purifier changed everything. Across the planet, alien ships froze in the sky. Their leaders were silent, their systems confused. The humans had done something impossible. They had taken the fight to space, and won, in secret. Corners of Earth, survivors cheered. They danced, cried, and shouted one word again and again, hope. The flame broadcast the message across every broken satellite. The enemy is not unbeatable. We rise. We burn. We fight. But the victory came with a cost. The aliens were watching, learning, and they had a new plan. Far above Earth, in a dark part of space, the Alien Council activated an ancient code. It was something they had never used before, something not even their soldiers fully understood. They called it the Null. The Null was not just a weapon. It was a living machine, a thing created to end entire species. It fed on energy, knowledge, and memory. Once released, it could not be stopped. The Council said, if humans cannot be ruled, they must be erased. The Null was sent to Earth. It came not as fire, but as silence. One night, across many bunkers, systems shut down. Screens went black. Radios fell quiet. Lights flickered out. At first, people thought it was a power problem. Then the Fireborn started to feel it. Ash was the first. He was training with others when he suddenly dropped to one knee. His glowing veins dimmed. His hands shook. Aya rushed to him. What's wrong? He looked up slowly. Something is draining me. The others felt it too. Their minds became slow. Their strength weakened. Aya checked the machines. All data pointed to one strange reading, a signal, like a virus spreading through everything, not just machines, through people. Aya gave the signal a name, the Black Echo. The Flame Network tried to warn others, but their systems failed one by one. The survivors lost contact with each other. Cities went dark again. Drones fell from the sky. Even weapons stopped working. It was like the world was being erased. "We have to find the source," Rourke said, "or we'll be back to Stone Age. And the Fireborn, they'll die." Ash stood, even though his body was weak. "Send me." Aya grabbed his arm. "No, not alone." Together they formed a team. Aya, Ash, 2 Fireborn, and an old radio operator named Milo. Milo had worked on Earth's deepest listening posts before the war. He said, "I remember something like this. Long ago. A dead signal that came from the Arctic. We called it the Ghost Tower." So they went north. The journey was hard. Ice storms, frozen roads, alien patrols. The Null didn't attack with guns. It sent fear, silence, and confusion. The closer they got, the more their minds ached. Aya saw shadows that weren't there. Milo forgot his name. Even Ash struggled to walk, but they pushed on. In the middle of the Arctic, they found it. A black tower, tall and thin like a needle, stood over the frozen sea. It made no sound, no light, but they felt it. It pulled at their thoughts. It erased memories as they walked closer. Ash fell to his knees. One of the Fireborn collapsed and didn't get up again. Aya shouted, "Stay with me!" Inside the tower, they found no guards, no weapons, just a single chamber glowing dark purple. A cube floated in the center. It pulsed like a heartbeat. Aya stepped forward. She heard voices in her mind. Her childhood, her mother's voice, her fears. The cube was feeding on her thoughts. She reached out. Her hand shook. Ash shouted, "Don't touch it!" But it was too late. Aya touched the cube, and her mind exploded with visions. She saw the creation of the Null, a prison, a weapon, a mistake. It had destroyed other civilizations before Earth. It was not loyal to the aliens. It was beyond control. Aya fell to the ground. Ash caught her. "What did you see?" she gasped. "It's not just here to end us. It's hungry. It will eat them too. The Council doesn't understand." Ash stood, weak, angry, glowing brighter than ever before. "Then we end it here." He took the energy core from his chest, something only Fireborn had. It pulsed bright red. Aya screamed, "No, that will kill you." Ash smiled. "Then I die for something." He slammed the core into the cube. A flash of white light filled the tower. The black echo stopped. Across Earth, power returned. The flame lit up again. Survivors cheered. Fireborn stood tall once more. The Null was gone, but Ash was gone too. Aya sat on the ice, silent. She held his coat in her arms. Back at the bunker, Rourke said to the people, "He saved the world, again, and now we burn brighter because of it." Aya looked up at the stars that night, and she made a promise. Ash is not the last Fireborn. He was the first. Ash was gone, but the fire he lit was still burning. Aya stood in the rebuilt war room of Project Phoenix. Maps covered the walls. Signals blinked across the screens. Survivors were no longer just hiding. They were planning. The awe. Fireborn, though fewer now, stood stronger than ever. And humanity had changed. The old world was gone, but something new was rising. They called it the Flame Front, a united human force made of bunker survivors, Fireborn fighters, and even ex-engineers who could fix broken alien machines. Aya had taken Ash's place as the leader, not because she wanted to, but because no one else could hold the fire like he had. "The aliens are afraid," Rourke said one morning, standing beside her. "They're pulling back their scouts, watching, waiting." "Good," Aya replied. "Let them watch us get stronger." But peace did not last. In space, the alien council was in chaos. The Null had been defeated. Their great purifier ship had been destroyed. The human leader Ash had sacrificed himself and become a symbol. The council feared symbols more than soldiers, so they created something new. Not a weapon, not a ship, a traitor. On a cold morning, The radar picked up a strange signal. It was human, but wrong, broken, from the edge of the dead zones. Aya sent a small team to investigate. They found a man, tall, strong, glowing veins, a fireborn. But his eyes were empty. He called himself Ash 9. Aya stood before him. Her voice shook. Ash is dead. Ash 9 smiled. I am what comes next. The team brought him back to the bunker. He looked human, talked like Ash, moved like Ash, but something in him was off. Too perfect. Too calm. One of the scientists whispered to Aya, "He's not human, not fully." They made a copy. Aya stared at the man who wore her friend's face. Ash 9 said, "The council wanted a better version, one without doubt, one without mercy." Rourke stepped forward. "Then why are you here?" "To offer peace," Ash 9 replied. "Join us, serve us, and Earth will live, fight us, and you will all burn." Aya walked up to him. She looked straight into his golden eyes. "We don't kneel," she said. "Not to monsters, not even perfect ones." Ash 9 didn't blink. "Then war it is." That night, the bunker shook. Alien ships began to return. Bigger ones. Faster ones. Their weapons had changed, more precise. They targeted bunkers directly. Flamefront outposts were wiped out in seconds, but the worst attacks came from within. Ash 9 had placed codes inside Flamefront systems, backdoors that let him see their plans, hear their calls. He wasn't just a soldier, he was a virus with a face. Aya watched her maps light up with red. "He's turning our own systems against us." Rourke hit the table. "He was never here to talk. He came to infect." The Fireborn were angry. One of them, a woman named Ember, slammed her fist into a wall. "He wears Ash's face, but he is not our brother." Aya nodded. "Then we end him, not with hate, with purpose." They started a counterplan, a ghost signal, something that looked like a real command center. Fake locations, decoy weapons, all designed to trick Ash 9. And it worked. He came in person, leading a squad of hybrid machines. He thought the command center was real. But it was a trap. Ember faced him first. "You wear his skin," she said. "But your soul is hollow." Ash 9 smiled. "Souls are weakness." Then they fought. The battle was brutal. Fireborn against fake Fireborn. Ember's fists glowed red hot. Ash 9's hands crackled with alien energy. They clashed again and again. Metal screamed. Bones cracked. Aya watched from above. She waited for the signal. When Ash 9 stepped into the right zone, she pressed the button. The trap sprung. EMP bursts, fired from hidden towers. A pulse of electric silence hit Ash 9 like a hammer. He dropped, twitching, screaming. Aya walked to him. "You were made to be better, but you'll never be real." Ash 9 looked up, his systems failing. "You will lose. You always do." Aya leaned down. "Then why are you the one on the ground?" She turned away. Ember ended it. The war was not over. But Earth had passed another test. Ash's memory lived on, not in the fake, but in the fire of those who kept fighting. The Flamefront grew. Humans rebuilt more bunkers. They reached out to other survivor groups, on mountaintops, in submarines, in hidden forests. The world was still cracked, but the fire was spreading. In a dark alien room far above Earth, the Council watched the footage. One of them growled, "The humans should have been a warning. Instead, they are becoming a storm." Another whispered, "We buried them too shallow, and now they rise." The world had changed. What started as ruins and fear had turned into resistance and fire. The Flamefront was now more than a few survivors. It was a movement, a growing army of humans who refused to kneel. But the war was not over. From the stars, the alien council watched with rage and fear. Earth had survived the Purifier. It had broken the Null. It had destroyed Ash 9. Every plan had failed, so they made one last choice: total destruction. They sent the Core Breaker, a weapon the size of a moon. It moved slowly, powered by gravity and heat. Its only purpose, crack. A planet from the inside. Once it reached Earth, there would be no battle, no fight, just the end. Aya stood before her people in the mountain command base. Fireborn, humans, scientists, all were listening. They think we're afraid, she said. They think they can end us with a machine, but they forgot one thing. She raised her fist. We are Earth. We are flame. We never stop. The bunker shook. The core breaker had entered orbit. It was time. Aya turned to Ember and Rourke. We need a way up there, now. Rourke smiled. We've been building something. Under the mountains, engineers had secretly rebuilt an old human space station. With help from stolen alien tech and fireborne designs, they had turned it into a warship. Not big, not fast, but tough. Its name, the Ashlight. Aya and Ember led a crew of fireborne and human pilots aboard it. They flew up through the clouds, dodging, alien fighters heading straight for the core breaker. It was massive, like a black mountain floating in space. Lights glowed along its skin. Deep inside, a red heat grew stronger every second. Earth had maybe 1 hour left. Inside the Ashlight, Aya gave the order. We find the control core. We end it, whatever it takes. The ship latched onto the core breaker. Teams went inside. They moved through metal tunnels, fighting machines, and alien guards. The deeper they went, the hotter it became. One fireborn was lost, then another. Finally, they reached the heart, a glowing sphere pulsing like a sun. Aya stared at it. This is it. Ember stepped forward. We blow it up? Rourke shook his head. No explosives strong enough, not from the outside. Aya was silent. Then she said, We don't destroy it. We turn it against them. How? Ember asked. With him, Aya said, pulling a small glowing chip from her pocket. It was Ash's last memory core, recovered from his battle with the Null. He had downloaded his final thoughts into it. Maybe it was just data. Maybe it was something more. Rourke looked at the chip. You really think he can help? Aya nodded. Ash was made to protect Earth. Let's give him one last fight. She placed the chip into the control panel. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the sphere pulsed blue. The lights in the chamber flickered. Then a voice filled the air. It was Ash, not alive, not fully, but his memory, his mind, something of him, was there. Is Earth still burning? The voice asked. Aya smiled, tears in her eyes. It never stopped. Ash's voice grew calm, strong. Then let's give them something to fear. He took over the core breaker's systems. The alien council noticed the change. Too late. The core breaker turned slowly in orbit. It pointed not at Earth, but at the alien fleet still watching from space. Ash's voice rang out again, this time across all frequencies. You tried to bury us, but we were seeds. The core breaker fired. The blast tore through the enemy fleet. One by one, the Council's warships exploded in silence. The stars lit up with fire. Back on Earth, people looked up. They saw the sky flash. The enemy was falling, burning, dying. Beside, core breaker's systems overheated. The control chamber began to collapse. Ember grabbed Aya's arm. We have to go, now! They ran back to the Ashlight just in time. Behind them, the core breaker shook and cracked apart. A second sun flashed over Earth, bright, then gone. In the silence that followed, no alien ships moved. No more came. The war was over. Aya stood in front of her people once again. She looked tired, burned, but unbroken. We lost friends, homes, the old world, but we found something stronger. She held up Ash's old coat. Fireborn wasn't just a project. It was a promise. That we rise, that we fight, that we never stop. Children in the bunkers would grow up hearing stories of Ash, of Ember, of Aya. Not just as warriors, but as builders of the new Earth. And high on a mountain where the stars were clear, A flame burned in a glass tower. Forever. It told one. Final message. They feared what Earth could become. And they were right.